royalty. To we sweet, sweet mama salute. Now we all come together as one. For tomorrow, now we go make salute.
The program na Good Morning Salon where they come to you live from Radio Democracy 98.1 FM as your power of headlines to read sustainable finance for technical and higher education with other things them where they happen at the ministry. And members say in after the 2023 election, President will be pick Ajara Matulai Wuri as the Minister of Higher Education. And this woman, the one here in our office, well, for Kano waiting so far don't they happen at the office. Make we get an inside program this morning. Good morning, welcome to Radio Democracy once more.
Good morning again.
All right, 1 year in office, and we get you some time back. Waiting so far don't they happen in terms of development.
Thank you very much. So a lot don't happen within the technical and higher education sector since I began serve as the Minister of Technical and Higher Education. And most of the things that we don't happen, we build upon the gains them with the last leadership within the ministry, the foundation of them in Dolly, we build upon them. So as you know, my ministry will deal with technical training, so vocational training and university. So we get two arms them. And both arms, they're very, very important because this is now the next step after secondary school. And we know the governments don't place a lot of emphasis on education. We get a free quality school education, which is a huge investment. So we own sector, we build upon that investment, we therefore protect that investment. So for example, within some of the things the world achieved over the last 12 months for vocational training, we get the dual apprenticeship policy. So vocational training are all about hands-on training. Now, technical training, not just classroom, you just forget the hands-on training. So the dual apprenticeship policy, they give a platform for we provide hands-on training for young people. So after they don't train at the vocational training centers, the government technical institute, they can able go to industries, so both in the public and the private sector, for see how they can get hands-on training, on-the-job training, whereas we can all agree very, very valuable. They allow we forge partnership with these industry players, because as much as we recognize, say, education very valuable, we know, say, no to a team number way now we as a government number we're able to push forward. It's all hands on deck. So therefore bring the partners and the one that already train the young people for later work na the industries in. So having that platform, this dual apprenticeship policy, where they allow them for spend time in industry under the umbrella of apprenticeship, they give them hands-on training, they give them training on the job. It also they help them chances of employability, because if you do well by apprenticeship, who knows what employment opportunities will come out of that. We also they speak to a priority of the government, the youth employment scheme. We also, under vocational training, with support from the World Bank, we recently conduct a labor market survey. So the reason why we do that, we want to ensure we will train with young people. There's no mismatch. We want to train them in a very demand-led manner. So how we go about for do that, we identify sectors then, where we call growth sectors, and then sectors there so sectors there where they inside with medium-term national development plan. So agriculture, we do the flagship program, mining, hospitality, fisheries. So these are some of the examples. Technology, the Ministry of Communication, Technology and Innovation then don't do the exercises, so just use the inputs, the outputs from the exercise. So there's sectors there, so if we don't talk to, again, industry players, we'll talk to the employers, then, both in the public and the private sector. Waiting at the skills them, one I want for see in young people where they graduate within their sectors there. So and we get Bakutina we can use with that information. For example, we can use that if we go back to the curriculum and say, okay, the curriculum right now, it is speak to within the labor market wants for them sectors there, so we don't do. If you not speak to them, would you use the output of the exercise for review the curriculum and ask the government technical institutes then, both public and private, for say, now so the labor market, now then skills there they want for seeing the young people. And then they go make sure say where the young people and graduates demand go there for them. It will help the industries them as well, because there's no need then for you go begin fend somebody from outside salon we get the skills that we want, we don't already train them in country for ensure so they get the skills that with the industries they need currently.
Right.
For quickly for universities, the one major thing we don't do now, Komon University of Science and Technology, now something we don't operationalize. We don't put structures them in place for ensure so the university will grow. And we do them through the lens of lessons learned of the other university. One for ensure say we get them from the get-go, we get them absolutely correct with Komon University, but I'm hoping that I will get more time during the program for elaborate further on
yes, we can look at different issues them we just mentioned, and your ministry they look at technical and university, but firstly let we start off with the university where you just end up with we know some of the issues that we will just flag and quick, and then we come into some of the main issues. Them we know the challenge, serious concern, plaba, concerning the vice chancellor and other issues. Waiting they happen, I don't settle on.
So you ask specifically for the University of Sierra Leone.
Yeah,
that issue has been resolved.
Okay.
It's been resolved. We have a substantive vice chancellor and principal, and we go according to the act, and we have appointed someone to serve in that capacity.
Okay, Minister, I'll take you back to your statement when you make just now. You mentioned one of our focus right now with regards gains of previous ministers. Now, tell me, what are the indicators of the gains and as to the impact of the sector?
The indicators when I assumed office, there was a strategic plan, the education sector strategic plan, we cover from the last leadership to me on time now. So for ensure say continuity they build upon those gains, and that strategic plan it was developed in a manner which ensure say the activities that we put inside it's needed within the sector. Not so just the ministry come up with that plan, we work with partners then where they support we work with the relevant stakeholders that will come up with that plan. So everybody gets say in the development of that plan, and then we implement collaboratively for make sure say it will get the desired impact.
Okay. Now, and also you mentioned about talking with employers so that the university will meet the needs of the job market. When I get any initiative for bringing them two people there together in one room, so that the employers then will make their case as to what they need. University tell them about the resource and what they get at hand, so that I'm going for create that kind of synergy for make the job market begin for benefit from the education sector.
Definitely, and we don't start to the labor market survey, where as I say, we don't identify 7 sectors they wouldn't talk to the labor market, both in the public and the private sector, for say waiting at the skills them. So we already don't make it a no say. They're very important stakeholders in education and training of young people them. And for example, Komon University, one of the main, it's a University of Science and Technology. One of the major programs they roll out now engineering, mining engineering. And we know say Komon a mining district. So if we the matriculation will be get earlier this year, one of the mining companies, then Koidu Holdings, they already don't take a step further. What I mean by that, then they send a couple of their employees there for support training of the young people, and they provide placement opportunities for young people. So this really they show say education business, especially within we sector, technical and higher education, it's a partnership. We cannot work in silos. We cannot afford for do things and without engaging the labor market where we train the young people for support.
All right. As you mentioned, Komon, one of the mining areas them, and for when I start for roll out some of them program, then they need a lot of in terms of equipment and other rest. The ministry, gets or the university gets the capacity for carry out some of the lecture, then they lecture then they or get the center with equipment for let they able function well.
Well, definitely we need equipment in all of the universities. And with Kono, we take on one step at a time. Now, baby university, it's a young university. We take on one step at a time. So for now, we offer programs at undergraduate level, and we don't identify people we trained up to master's level for help for deliver the curriculum. And as I mentioned earlier, we'd also tap into the companies then, for example, the mining companies and within that district for later support training. In terms of equipment, it goes without saying, Kono University, now the university of itself is being constructed. So what would they utilize now in terms for train the young students them? Now 2 government technical institutes that will get now the district. And then government technical institutes they already get equipment. So they really maximize upon the existing equipment and will get for start the university, whilst they wait for the construction complete. But we get government technical institutes, we get the equipment and what they use. As I mentioned earlier, for example, for mining and get the opportunity for get on-the-job apprenticeship or placements with mining companies within the district.
Continue for the week inside the program in name na Ajara Matulai Wuri in the Minister of Technical and Higher Education. As we there for local developments we don't happen na the ministry and self will talk about the sustainable finance for technical and higher education. Continue for the week inside the program. We'll go for a short break. We will start off with other studio guests.
Do you know you can transfer money by airtime and pay all your utility bills in just a minute? You can have access to your account anytime, anywhere. Welcome to the world of fast and easy GT World. With the GT World, you can transfer money from one GT Co account to another, pay utility bills, get account statements, get airtime, and check your balance. With GT Wall, you can buy Exa anytime, anywhere. You can go to App Store or Play Store on your iPhone and Android devices, download the app, and enjoy. GT Code. Wouldn't you run a bank with us?
Yeah, are you ready now? Where I want to pop na net. I the chat with Leo. Check me bank accounts for no almost I get. Chat with Leo. Make transfer by Edsa. I the chat with Leo. It then a Instagram. It a WhatsApp. Just chat with Leo. Anytime where I day at the bank. Any time of the day at the bank. You be a make 'em easy for make we chat with Leo. The mommy in money can come out where I chat with Leo. 0799199919. No so call now for text anytime when you come online. Next in accounts you gon' make any save you time. Either Insta, Facebook and WhatsApp, Apple Message, Google Business Chat. Where I want to pop na net, I the chat with Leo. Check me bank accounts for no almost I get. Chat with Leo.
The program Good Morning Salon will come to you live from Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. We come over to the other studio guests. We are the Public Relations Officer for Public Service Commission, Amadou Femosisi. Good morning, welcome to Radio Democracy, Amadou.
Thank you, and good morning again.
Okay, the Public Service Commission set them up inside 1948 by Royal Gazette number 4112 of September 16, 1948. I think this particular, sexual, I just read, somehow strange, but waiting so far now on a mandate as commission.
Yeah, back in 1948, the Governor General by then been create the Public Service Commission, where now be a non-executive body, where the mandate now be just for advice the Governor General on the appointment, promotion, and transfers. But after we gain independence in 1961, that mandate be changed. The PSC can get an executive authority. So when Sierra Leone be carved out the 1991 Constitution, Section 152, subsection 1, I will ask that he allow me for read directly so that the public will be able to understand.
Right.
Section 152, subsection 1 say, subject to the provisions of this Constitution, The power to appoint persons to hold or act in offices in the public service, including power to make appointments on promotions and to confirm appointments and to dismiss and to exercise disciplinary control over persons holding or acting in such offices shall vest in the Public Service Commission. So that don't tell you say the Public Service Commission now the institution and the way the government creates for recruit people into the wider public service. And this include the civil service and individuals within the outside of the civil service. So basically that's not the mandate of the institution.
All right, as you say now, on a mandate now for recruit people. But we see over the past year we are in all ministry or departments they recruit they will command them in same way. So on a mandate with other institutions, there seems as if not the same. So if you see now on get a mandate over the past year, on don't carry out on a mandate as per law.
As you rightly observe, over the years we don't see the establishment of certain commissions and other agency act based. We also do similar function, and this don't greatly undermine the constitutional mandate of the Public Service Commission. This is now one of the very reasons why we now they try for reposition the Public Service Commission for make we will deliver on the constitutional mandates. Other institutions we they deliver where they perform similar human resource management work, not get the constitutional mandate. At least we don't hear it from the ground now. So what do they do now? This policy they help for reposition the Public Service Commission for ensure we will deliver on we mandate. Of course, you attended the program yesterday, hearing from the various speakers, ranging from the Secretary to President, the head of the Civil Service, the Director General of the Human Resource Management Office, and some other top guns, including the Chairman of the Public Service Commission, KOBA. We don't develop this policy. We now try for ensure we able to reclaim we function back. We go continue for collaborate because in government service, you get for collaborate with other institutions for ensure you're able to deliver on your mandate.
Okay. Reform any position like you mentioned, following for doing a mandate, fine. It come in a space where gap there. Take me to the gap there we una the can for reform.
Yes, now that I just highlight. We don't see a number of institutions that do the same job with the PSC they do in terms of recruitment. We don't observe then recruitment they get challenged. For instance, way they do recruitment, you get about 7 layers. One, you talk about the job title. 2, you talk about the grade or the scale. You talk about the purpose, the main responsibility, deliverables, the reporting line, and also the criteria. In some instances, we don't see people just recruit without get to the Public Service Commission, and sometimes you see the responsibilities can vary, the titles can vary. But let me just use the administrative assistant secretaries as an example now. These are individuals where the Public Service Commission they recruit with requests from the Human Resource Management Office, and they were purely in grade 7 when they integrate into the civil service.
So okay.
Yes, go on.
Continue. But the una power for recruit member them. Una get mandate for delegating to other institutions and for do on no for the door.
Yes, we get a mandate. The Human Resource Management Office, what they call HRMO, get the authority for recruit from grade 1 to grade 5. So above grade 5, that's not purely the business of the Public Service Commission. So as this policy now, they try for ensure we able to do a job, but we also collaborate with other institutions. The PSC will now be the main body for manage human resource process in the entire civil service or public service.
All right. Now, as you see, on the work with institution them for carry out some of on a mandate. Now, as the Public Service Commission, gets the manpower at this moment for carry out on a function.
At this moment, we get both the quality and quantity. But as we expand, we need to bring about other people for help for deliver.
So what are the difference between HRM modern function and UNA?
Well, as I say, we get the constitutional mandate. We are just read to una and the public. We don't show say we get the authority for appoint, promote, transfer, confirm, and then discipline public officers where they cross the line. HRMO also get your mandate where they own business for manage the one they will recruit. Then are the managers. We do recruit for HRMO, and the HRMO now get the business for manage the people who they recruit. Now they own business for selling at the individual government entities, and they also get the authority for also recruit government officers from grade 1 to grade 5.
All right. Now, yesterday we see una roll out the public, service commission policy, a draft. Take me through. What are the essence of this particular draft policy?
Yeah, as I say, the essence now for reposition the commission for make we able reclaim we constitutional mandate, we then are section 152, subsection 1, we say we get the authority for one, appoint individuals into government service, confirm them, transfer, and also discipline public officers where they cross the line. This document here get about 6 parts. The first part, they talk about the introductory, where they introduce the institution and the issues where we try for address. The second part, they talk about the legislative review and the consultative engagement where we get. Yesterday, will be just one of the consultations where we don't get over the period. Then section 3, now they talk about the recommendations we come in for ensure say we able to address the policy issues we come up. Section 4, they talk about the essential features of the proposed policy. This policy also they propose that we get constitutional mandate back, and also they ensure that we able incorporate the GWE Act, the Gender Equality and Women Empowerment Act of 2022, where they say the minimum requirements anytime we recruit to forget about 30% of women into the government service. So that also a feature inside this document here. And also they talk about fair employment opportunities where they create room for persons with disabilities. And we also they talk about for use technology for ensure so we will improve on the way we deliver service across the board. Then section 5, they talk about the benefits of this document here or the policy. And of course, section 6, now they talk about the conclusion and the annexes, because when we develop this document here, we also look at other countries. Then we talk about South Africa, Kenya, Botswana, and Ghana. These guys are top when it comes to public service across Africa.
All right. Most policy we government and other body them can try for put together. They can get a consultative, engagement with various people. For this one, am able to do some of them in there?
Of course. As I tell you, yesterday we just one of the consultations we don't get over the period. I'm happy that you be a part of the exercise. We get representative from the various government institutions. Then we also got people from the media. We meet yesterday. We a number of big people within government be able to make statements, and they also be recommend that we do further consultation for ensure say we get a national ownership and leadership, because this is not a government document. So if we forget everybody on board, yes.
All right. Most policy them at times can get time frame. For this one, another factor that.
Well, this they try for with the bill on this. This they create the room for make we will get the Public Service Act. That get for be the first Public Service Act which Salongo ever get, and you also get for create room for make we review the Public Service Regulations of 1982. You see, it is now very old document, almost over 40 years, right? 1982 is over 40 years, so we get for review that document. The document still on a draft, now still a draft until we end with consultations before we will able to give a timeline.
All right. Continue for the week inside the program. Amadou Famous is saying the Public Relations Officer for Public Service Commissioner today for talk about the draft policy and other things that will happen at the commission. Well, we'll go for a short break. We'll continue with the Minister of Technical and Higher Education, because there are a lot of issues and we get a lot of questions on our Radio Democracy Facebook page.
UTB, Union Trust Bank, the game changer don't come. As we the lead, others they follow. And just with your mobile phone, you will transfer and receive money with ease, speed, and safety. UTB don't make it possible for collect money na ATM machine without the ATM card. Now that we call cardless ATM. You, the UTB customer, will send money to anybody and deposit and collect the money na any UTB ATM panel without any ATM card. All it can do now for just enter the reference code and collect the money. The UTB copper in safe day. With this UTB copper, any UTB customer can transfer copper with a mobile phone to anybody up to 5 billion loans. And with the reference code, the person can go to any UTB branch and collect the copper. Union Trust Bank, we there for you.
The program na Good Morning Salon, where they come to you live from Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. We take one of headlines to read them inside the President Julius Maada Bio say because Africa not there as permanent member na the UN Security Council, the decision with this body can take knocking day in line with waiting Africa wants. President Bio talk this where he made the chair the UN Security Council debate for Seka Salon in presidency na the UN Security Council. As he say, Africa for long term now don't they suffer plenty injustice with a campus decision whether they make na the UN Security Council. You know, Kabia gets more and gonna reports.
Where the President Julius Maada Bio be open the debates na the UN Security Council on the theme addressing historical injustice and enhancing Africa's effective representation in the UN Security Council. President Bio be talk on plenty things the way he say don't among Africa representation na the UN Security Council.
To fully understand the need to address the historical injustice being done to Africa, let me briefly underscore the compelling historical foundations. From the arbitrary partition of Africa during and after the colonial rule, African nations were excluded from key international decisions that affected their future. The lack of sovereignty and political representation during those periods has had lasting effects on Africa's ability to shape global policies and institutions. This historical injustice stems from colonial legacies and power imbalances that persist to date. The legacy of slavery intersects with other forms of historical injustice, including colonialism, imperialism, and exploitation. Africa has long been marginalized in global decision-making processes, and its voice are often drowned out. This results in a lack of meaningful representation on issues that directly affect the continent, such as conflict prevention, peacekeeping operations, conflict resolution, and sustainable development.
You be the listen to the President Julius Maada Bio, we be the talk about the kind suffer where he say Africa don't suffer na the UN Security Council for get permanent seats. The president's been talk about what it mean where Africa is say no get permanent seats na the UN Security Council.
This paradigm of non-representation or underrepresentation means that Africa's perspectives and priorities are regrettably overlooked in global decision-making processes. The absence of permanent African representation in the Security Council means that decisions impacting the continent are made without sufficient African input, leading to policies that may not align with the needs and aspirations of African nations. This council is all too familiar with situations where African mediation and conflict resolution efforts were disregarded for interventions that have had and continue to have disastrous consequences on the continent. In view of the preceding, effective representation of Africa in the Security Council is imperative for several reasons.
In Keyon say, the UN Security Council for treat Africa case as special case.
To strengthen the Security Council, the historical injustice against Africa must be rectified as a matter of priority. Second, the importance of upholding equity and justice, particularly for equitable decision-making, cannot be overstated. The historical injustice against Africa contradicts the UN's principle of justice, equity, and democratic representation. As the Council members know too well, these principles directly impact the Council's work. Accordingly, Africa's inclusion in the permanent membership category will ensure that decisions affecting the continent are made with direct and meaningful input from those most impacted. Third, to reflect the present global and geopolitical realities. The geopolitical landscape has significantly evolved since 1945.
But waiting the UN Security Council need for do for give more strength to this council. President Bio explained.
The UN cannot continue to swim against the tide of justice. The African Union's admission to the G20 remains a welcome development that leads the way resolutely. This is where the call for treating Africa as a special case and priority in the UN Security Council reform process is fully strengthened. Reform of the Council and other global governance structures is about equitable representation of Africa. By prioritizing Africa's concern, including enhanced representation within the framework of the UN Security Council reform, the UN can demonstrate its commitment to addressing the root causes of conflict and instability on the continent, thereby advancing the cause of peace and prosperity for all. In addressing the historical injustice done to Africa, and as UN member states, particularly existing permanent members, have supported Africa's call for enhanced representation in the UN Security Council.
Where himself been the talk, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres been talk about the reason why he say Africa forgets permanent seats na the UN Security Council.
Mr. President, Excellencies, I thank Sierra Leone for convening this debate. Since 1945, the United Nations Security Council has been a bedrock of global peace and security, but the cracks in its foundation are becoming too large to ignore, and they are contributing to deadlock, stalemate, and stagnation around today's most pressing crisis. And they are feeding a broader crisis of credibility and legitimacy that is affecting multilateralism itself. The Security Council was designed by the victors of the Second World War and reflects the power structures of that time. And the world has changed since 1945. But the composition of the Council, despite a few changes, has not kept pace.
Antonio Guterres end up say then go support Africa during this debate for say Africa gets permanent seats na the UN Security Council where this is say go able for address the plenty challenge them where Africa they get. The UN Security Council, where President Bio the chair now, forsake a salon in presidency. They continue in the United States and Radio Democracy will continue for bring updates for the difference in them where they happen at the UN Security Council. For Radio Democracy, Kabia the reports.
The program Good Morning Salon, they continue inside. We continue to talk with your studio guests there.
The program na Good Morning Salon where they come to you live from Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. Still inside the studios, we get the Minister of Technical and Higher Education, Aja Ramatulai. We don't give you updates about things that will happen so far, but look at the student loan scheme. Update listeners them so far, waiting to happen with them.
Thank you very much. So the student loan scheme na another way where the ministry they work for provide sustainable access to technical and higher education as Salon. Before the student loan scheme, we all know about the granting aid scheme. But I think we can all agree, say, despite say get all the best intentions, we get some challenges with the granting aid scheme. And what we want for doing things in a sustainable manner, not to tin way all term would try for firefights for address them. So the student loan scheme, as the name implies, a loan where students and they apply, then you get criteria, we get a secretariat, then they apply, then they assess them based on that criteria, and then if they meet the criteria, then they able get the loan where they get access to education. And then over time, then pay that loan and go back into the pot where you go able to give loan to more students. We don't pilot them for postgraduate students for the previous academic year. And it worked well. So that pilot thing, you see waiting for work well, which you need for adjust, which you need for build upon. And now we scale them up gradually. So we expand for accommodate more and more students. If before we only provide for X number of students in, as we scale up, we get for accommodate more and more students in. And as we do so, the intention are for ensure say everybody will get access to technical and higher education via the loan scheme. Then they go complement other efforts within the ministry. The granting aid scheme, for example, as I say, don't get challenges but within the ministry, we talk as to how we can retain a component of the granting aid scheme, specifically for certain groups of people. One will be female students in the science, technology, engineering, agriculture, and maths field. But we go define within the programs and the of study. We go define the quota because one for bring more women then we get the Jury Act. One for bring more women them in their fields and the way historically they have been dominated by men. The other group of people that will get for retain this SLG for persons living with disability. We get radical inclusion from for basic and senior secondary education, where they say you're able for access education regardless. So why we for stop that support today when you want for go to university? And also parent students and with parents and don't teach for a number of years, I think 10 years, then they're able for access that scheme they will plan for roll out very soon.
All right, so to be specific, what are the people that we supposed to benefit from the student or the granting aid actually?
Now for disadvantaged, students we necessarily otherwise not able to afford. So the granting aid scheme was designed for provide equity in terms of access. So it not mean say because you not get your family well to do or deprived means say you not go able to access education. Now need the granting aid now for provide equity in terms of access.
All right. So over the past year, then thing that we explained so far don't able meet because we can understand say even people that we may be well to do, they benefit from the granting aid.
Well, the granting aid scheme we get quota. As much as go on for provide grants for all man, we get for be realistic. We don't get able to provide for all man. But what do they do? They get regional representation. So one district will get advantage over the other. So the quota will they get at national level, will they filter and down to district level for ensure say there's regional equity and also equity for across the board for access. But we're not able to cater for everybody as much as we would like to.
Okay. Minister, we've been before this the issue on granting aid. What will be the look at the university then? I've been concerned for ask about why the ministry not they left university them for do waiting people know them for. For instance, you get the likes of Jala University where they know they say they do agriculture, but now then they do law and lawyers and non boku, but who get health sector where the ratio to doctor and patient very gap too big. So why would I do that day for making for lady education sector for meet the needs of the country?
I'm glad you asked that question there because I know something we don't discuss within the ministry. We get for ensure say universities that we position them for support the country in national development plan. And that they mean say they get for train young people then for meet the need where this country need at that point in time, but also that horizon scanning. So looking ahead, waiting at the emerging sectors then where they come. We don't want for waitlist something don't be a thing. Now that's how they begin remember how for begin train with young people. Because they train with young people, we not just train them for salon, we also train them for they are able to compete with them, peers them on the global market. But then the example we give example for Jala and the medical school. So Jala, yes, they don't diversify, then they do other programs then. But then the point we make about the medical sector, for example, I go happy for reports to you for say Jalado also starts a medical degree program. We're mindful for say as a country with the College of Medicine, they do the best that they can for produce medical professionals and we will need for the country in health sector. But we not get for the rate at which we produce medical doctors from commerce and waiting WHO they tell we say we need, it will take we a very, very long time for we catch up. So Jala University don't start a medical degree program. We will complement the efforts of the College of Medicine, when a part of the University of Sierra Leone, but let them see how the universities there collectively go support the health sector in Sierra Leone.
Okay. Take me through within some of the things that we owners ministry want for help for bring change to the sector as well for the education sector begin help the country in need.
So the major two want for do now waiting the topic of why there are sustainable financing for technical and higher education. As a government under the leadership of His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio, education has always been a priority. It was a flagship program, and now we get human capital development as one of the 5 key priority areas there. And the factor make education a priority will not just talk about even how we invest into the sector. 22% of the national budget they go to the education sector. We hear from the Minister of Finance say you don't introduce a 1% education tax for further complement the 22% where the government they spend into the sector. But if we want to be realistic, then they're not going to be enough for the changes they will need within the sector. So now we as a ministry will say, okay, how can we further complement the efforts of the government? How can we bring all man together, all hands on deck for see how we can introduce sustainable, it has to be sustainable ways of financing the technical and higher education sector. Because as I mentioned earlier, we don't invest as a government in free quality school education. You don't build the foundation. When you make us, when you build foundation, you need left the foundation so you go up. If you left the foundation, then that money you don't put for the foundation, you not get what thing you been want from that construction. So we look at ways in which we can complement, and all man gets role for playing this. The ministry, we don't put together cabinet paper. We don't care and go as far as cabinet to see how we can start a technical and higher education fund. We go complement the efforts of the government, and that fund they go support the sector in terms of access, so we can ring-fence some of the money for the student loan scheme, for example. What I mentioned, say with the scale up, we will allow more and more Sierra Leonean young students for able access technical and higher education. The universities them also get a role for play in Dande. Universities and the core functions of universities: teaching, research, and community service. We therefore really maximize upon research and innovation. Now, thing where other universities in other parts of the world they use, not only for generate income for the university, but for generate evidence for address problems that where the country then they face at that point in time. So they generate the evidence where the policy makers will be able to translate, go inform policies, and that will be translated into practice. There also innovation. Well, we get young people. You know, last week I been on one program where Orange organized something for do innovation, where anytime you go there, you're so motivated and inspired by young people, and because then they really think about the issues they face as a nation and come up with innovative solutions. But then there's so much that we can get from Dande in terms of changing the profile of the universities. So research now one thing with universities can really embark upon for later see how they can further complement their internally generated funds. As a ministry, we get a science, technology, and innovation policy we will launch recently, supported by UNESCO. And then they go really help for drive at the national level, science, technology, and innovation. And we go support the universities. We get the National Science and Technology Innovation Council. We go serve as a coordinating body for Dande. Universities also we encourage them to embark upon business ventures. See how they can identify business opportunities. Then we go help them with the internally generated funds. And as a sector, we also therefore work with the Ministry of Finance, because let's say hypothetically, we don't get this fund, we don't get money, we don't diversify with income streams. So many ways they do they get money. We therefore ensure say it utilized effectively, there's transparency, there's accountability. One of the priorities of the government is digitalization and technology. So how can we use technology for strengthening financial management systems within the universities for ensure say this fund will be put together, it gets the intended impact. And we do all of this because as much as we work with partners and for support for transform the technical and higher education sector, there should be an element of national investment and national leadership and ownership. So if we don't come up with ways for to bring up that money, what you invest in, you will protect, and it will really ensure, say, there's ownership. Now we for drive the process, and then we work with partners and for complementary efforts and support because as I keep saying, it's all hands on deck. We cannot do this on our own.
Continue for the routines of the program, Madam Minister. We'll go for a short break where we come. We will continue with we other studio guests. We will tell people waiting so far inside this particular draft policy.
Any hour where you sleep and wake, you dey ask yourself, wetin GT Bank get for we again? Well, GT Bank gladly for tell you say, anybody can do MoneyGram and Ria Money service na any GT Bank branch near you and receive gift wey go make you at gladly. E no mean say pass you be GT Bank customer. E like you not to customer na the bank. Just back a go na any GT Bank branch near you and do you Ria Money or MoneyGram service and receive fine gift from GT Bank. GT Bank, it go better you bank with we.
The program na Good Morning Salon will come to you live from Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. Will come over to the other studio guests. We are Amadou Femo Sise, in the Public Relations Officer for the Public Service Commission. Just opportune for see brief of the document. We are going to see a draft policy specific objective for somebody who not see this document. Within the specific objective we the PSC want to achieve.
Yeah. The first objective they talk about for develop an act of parliament, when at the Public Service Act of Parliament, where it will be the first ever for the Sierra Leone get a Public Service Act. The second objective they talk about gender inclusion, for ensure say we recognize the GWA Act of 2022. We say whenever we recruit, we forget a minimum of 30% of women into the system. Another policy objective now that we for review and update the Public Service Regulation of 1982, where it's over 40 years old now. Another one that we for modernize with system and processes for ensure say we able to deliver our public service to the people of this country. So basically, these are just some of the policy objectives. But the key one here is we need for reposition and reclaim the mandate of the Public Service Commission.
Okay.
Where the Constitution talk about Section 152, subsection 1.
Okay. Now, most policies at times the public not can get the awareness there about things, and so far we can do inside particular documents which one I don't put in place for make the public aware. Say these are some of the things them way the PSC they try for set up, and after we go come up Parliament, when I try for updates the public about things.
You see, consultation now one medium of communication. Yesterday we get about 100 participants minus the media practitioners where we invite. But before yesterday consultation, we don't get consultation the regional capitals of this country. And again, we will continue to get consultation until we get a better public service policy. We will stand the test of time. Where any other person we will come into office, I mean a PSC will not say yes, the one that will be serve as managers, we do the right thing. We also continue for engage the media, and we're so grateful that when I invite you follow the narrative and talk on this policy, and we will continue for use the media. We also don't get strategies in place for ensure say we will continue for engage the public, because as the Secretary to President they say yesterday is say we for continue for engage. Engagement is very key, because we need for ensure say we get national ownership and leadership. Even stressed them yesterday, and even the chairman for the legislative committee in the House of Parliament, they re-echo that sentiment. They say we forget national ownership and leadership. That's not the only way we will able to achieve what we want to achieve. And no country not will develop if the public service not able to meet the needs and aspirations of the people of that particular country.
So for get them policy they are one, but also an ultimate mandate and for make the public service able for deliver. But again, how did them policy they also go make sure say when una get on a mandate and reposition and reform like I don't talk it bring efficiency like for the people, the public service work man, able for work fine in a way that the public where they work for will go for benefits from her. Get it?
Yes. Let me talk about one of the objectives now for modernize the systems and processes, how we deliver service, and that even include the merit-based recruitment process where the PSC the rollout. Now the Public Service Commission, we always advertise when we get vacancy from any government institution, whether not through the HR, the Human Resource Management Office or any other government entity with the advertiser. We ensure say we shortlist people we meet the requirement. After that day, we're gonna invite them for exam, and the one day we meet the threshold or we pass the exam, gonna come in for interviews. So we go continue for ensure say we able deliver on that particular mandate. The policy now they talk about not just like a foundation. You know, the minister talk about foundation. This will serve as a foundation for me we able to do a number of things. One, forget the first ever public service act in this country. We will also review and update the Public Service Regulation of 1982. We don't do for over 40 years now. We will also ensure say we incorporate the recommendation where the people give. When that we for make room for persons with disability, recognize and respect the provisions where they inside the GUA Act of 2022. We say the minimum percentage na 30% for women. Then whenever we recruit, for instance, we recruit up to 100 people for ensure say minimum of 30 of that 100 for be women's representation, and not just for bring them on board, but for also get managerial positions across the board.
I continue for the week inside the program. Amadou famous CC Public Relations Officer for Public Service Commission. Would take one of the headlines to read them? Jaffa.
The program Good Morning Salon they continue, and inside the program we look at another story. We go inside the Health Education Program Manager at the Ministry of Health, Harold Thomas, say the ministry they work tanga one for make the monkeypox sick not come na salon within a plenty country them now in Africa. Harold Thomas talked this in our interview to the democracy. Where been they talk about the monkeypox sick within a different African country there now. He been talk more to Kaifa to Conte, but this sick.
Okay, monkeypox we now we call an mpox na a disease we na virus cause them like the other sick them, and a zoonotic disease. What I mean, it affects animals and mortal man. But when it is na the animal world, no problem no good. But if any transfer from the animal to human, any transmission from animal to human, then we can get what we call a sustained human to human transmission. So that's so the sickness there. Again, monkeypox as a virus, it is spread through close contact with somebody we get them, or even animal we get them.
Okay, so what are some of the signs and symptoms then of this monkeypox sick?
Well, monkeypox where somebody gets them, it gets them fever, it gets rash, it can get what we call swollen lymph node. That means to say like then can call grind way on armpits or other parts of the body, then it can swell. But it is characterized by serious fever.
Okay, so now that this sick day now the neighboring country them. So what are some of the preventive measures the way the ministry don't put in place for say people not going to forget this monkeypox?
Well, we Nassau will not get any case now because according to WION and the IHR protocol, the international health regulations, one case an outbreak in any country, but we not get up an outbreak now. But waiting with the advice people them for avoid contacts with animals, especially wild animals. So then we know how for handle, wild animals, not for touch them. And for practice, which we call good hygiene, meaning hand washing is very, very important with soap and water. particularly if you care for somebody we actually sick. We for also make sure say we take care of the food, which we call food safety. That is, we for eat food we thoroughly cooked, especially animal products, any food we get beef, we know for cook and good one before we eat. And if we get if they feel any way, like say we sick, we get fever, we body the heart, we get rash, we get then lymph node and they will swell, we go to the nearest health facility that we report, or we call 117.
So how prepare the ministry day in terms of in case we get the monkeypox sickness?
The Ministry of Health and the Public Health Agency and all we partners them in health, we're very prepared and we're very vigilant. So that makes we don't even put out this press release. We don't make sure say we get what you call enhanced surveillance. They watch for any of them suspected case there. And if we see anyone, we will make sure we test for proof whether they're in or not. And we talk to the community people and they engage, people and through the media, like what they do so, where they engage community. And even with health workers, we don't put in place what we can call treatment protocol in case it happen, we then get for use them. And we also they talk to the neighboring country, Guinea, Liberia, Ivory Coast, where they talk to them. So if any of them, gets any people and we the go to the country or the one that we the Canada, we make sure we check them. And then the main things and then they will do.
Okay, so I was expecting some of the mechanisms they don't put in place, especially now the border crossing points them.
Well, what we call enhanced surveillance done, we get cross-border interaction with the health authorities we colleagues them across the two main borders that are Guinea and Liberia, and also even Ivory Coast. We always they in contact with each other. We get cross-border meetings and we share information in case anything happens. And we get a regional network of West Africa and even Africa. We always, on a daily basis, we exchange ideas and we look at we get updates from within the app in other countries.
So how about this monkeypox be?
Well, monkeypox actually, a variant of what we call the smallpox virus we don't eradicate it, not in the world again. But remember, say during 1990, they give vaccine for smallpox. So that vaccine they will give anybody will get immune for monkeypox, but their population already below 35 years, they don't mean get that. So for be very cautious and any disease, go underestimate them. Now, disease will okay before manage, but we can say prevention better than cure.
Okay, so this monkeypox they kill?
Of course, any sickness they will get case fatality. Even in countries that we don't get, the case fatality is as about 3%. That means to say if any 100 person gets them, like 3 will die. But we not get an salon yet, and we put all these measures in place for them not go get them.
You dey look for side for keep you money and for make you business grow. You dey look for way how you go keep money and help people in your community.
Well, now the term is so for keeping money with any community bank or financial services association, with them they call FSA, with the all side na salon, because then a good party with good condition, very easy for the ordinary man.
They go guide you fine one, but how for manage your money for change your life and your people them now your community. Remember say when you keep your money in a bank where they near you not just they keep money for bye, but you they help your community for go before.
So waiting you the wait, you be businessman or farmer, petit trader, sorry art person, teacher or anybody keep your money in any community bank or FSA where they near you and see how your life go better. Remember say that bank here they are so take go for me and you.
Salon, the continued fumble, the interview we just listened to, that's not the voice of Harold Thomas. We've been the talk to Karifatu, but the monkeypox sick, we see the plenty African country there. They continue the discussion. We come back to the minister. You look at the sustainable finance. With this, when I get any green campus initiative, because challenge of electricity na campus and lab they can get for use light and other things then. But green campus initiative, they part of this.
Thank you very much for that question. Definitely. So we get existing infrastructure and we get infrastructure yet to be constructed. So in light of the challenges that we face for sustainable connection to electricity, green campuses definitely will be considered. Last week, if I meet with some of the leadership of Jala University, where then they can meet with the ministry for talk about the efforts then for construct a new building we go support this new medical school I mentioned. And one of the things that we'll discuss now for ensure they factor than they into the proposal for make sure say this will be green campus. And also other universities and way they think about building new campuses, they also they factor ensuring that green campus. And while they go on, we now as a sector will get for SIDOM and see how we can go to the existing infrastructure and incorporate that green, making them green, how we can work with partners and for making them green. But for now, all the one they wouldn't they construct, that is being considered.
All right. Madam Minister, how does sustainable finance for technical and higher education sector get for operate?
So how we get for operates now fund, now technical and higher education fund. And this is something where it's tried and tested in other countries that were similar to we context. Ghana gets one, Nigeria gets one. And as I mentioned, it complements the efforts of the government. So we get for work with the relevant ministries, departments, and agencies for set up this fund. And we within the ministry will believe in dialogue, consultative dialogue. So we get for bring all the relevant stakeholders and follow we identify what's in this fund get for really address, what you get for cater for in the first instance. Because when you start something, you start on small, and then you gradually scale up. So once we don't identify what's in this fund get for support, then we get for put the right administrative processes in place. For say, okay, we want access, now so you do. Now this documentation for sure. And we will give this this fund, you get for give you proof for so you don't utilize this fund. Another thing we think of within the ministry, it's not something we're rolling out now, but we're thinking for see how we roll them out. Because ultimately we want for gradually we want for build upon the gains within the universities and ensure say the education, the quality they improve on a daily basis. But we can all agree for that you need resources. So one thing we want for do now for introduce what's called performance-based financing. Again, it's tried and tested in other parts of the world, where how they will work out based on your performance. So we'll develop indicators with universities, and these indicators will be informed by the National Development Plan. Because as I keep saying, we universities then get for position, they position themselves for support the development agenda of the country. So these indicators will be informed by the National Development Plan. We will take them a step further and also get some indicators that will link to the Agenda 2063 from the African Union. So look at the continent. We can take them a step further also and include indicators that will link to the Sustainable Development Goals. So country, continent, global. When we universities them, we go work on it together with them, come up with these indicators, and then they, based on how they perform on these indicators, go determine how much money they're able to access from this fund. But as I mentioned, that's until we work on. But ultimately, all of these initiatives now foresee how we'll gradually improve upon the gains made within the university and ensure quality education is something that is sustainable.
All right, we'll come back to you shortly where you can tell you if this money already there, but let me take what about inside the program.
Another morning again, I say Wednesday man, I say international loot today, I say 9 past. Just like that man, I say say now I say the promise them to use them. I say na so it just the high man. I say na so it just the flow. I say it just the pack. I say welcome to the country, man. We use them. The name will come to drugs, and then they before for elect politician them. I say, but we not determined now. I say for young people themselves, they put in a pocket. I say no surprise you 60%. They know they can't go now. They know they bring a can street. I said, I me pass yo. I said, then the minister, I say minister of youth. I say, yes, so I say, no minister of youth. I say, that minister with them chief with them come back go and foot for. I say, with the act and say, how you see them business? He say, with the create the enabling environment for young people themselves get the kind of where they go get na the job market now. Say, but today. Say opposition leader, say money no, I tell you the do again. As opposition member na parliament, I say you na boy, like man. I say you member enter there, I say people then go to go na office na state social. I say na the camera get opposition leader. Bang! I say, would you always want the tell smile? I say, 9 people them put on social media, top WhatsApp. I say them put on them. I say, 9 the act opposition leader, now you tell smile so. You ain't nothing talk, say how go this, how go no get the legitimacy, how no the fat for no is all. Say na some kind coincidence how them pick am na the short say na make him be cherry that smile. I say other one come back then to opposition leader during the state opening. I say you praise God. I say that small line then I saw opposition leader one big journalist there. I say, bo. Waiting at the issue. As your opposition leader, calm down, rest. I say if you praise, you not praise. You remember what I say, this whole level political party association say, I didn't get a letter, I said, then send them to me, then say, La Tella Lucina and La Chante, not the big word for them, not the big word for them, not this country politics. I say, we person tell me, say, me grandpa 70-year-old man na been part of the Rainbow Party. I say, I saw no come with that stethoscope glasses. Me na the honorable Akabot.
The program Good Morning Salon, they continue. Inside the program this morning, we start for look at a message system. This one say, Madam Minister, the Disability Act 2011 state free quality education for persons with disabilities. Please mention it. Disabled students do not need loan.
And this one from 077981981 line, they asked the minister for the criteria the way person for get before able to access the student loan scheme.
This one say the public service, a lot of issues. Hope this policy will address it.
And this one, now the 07798 line, they say, Minister, the university then they offer online courses and distance course them. If then they do, how person they sit exam but then online course they are?
This one say, Mr. Sise, what's your relationship with ministry, department, and agency in terms of recruitment?
And another one again, they say, when I ask the minister, what thing they do for make lecturer in a university? No say, a public service then they offer, and not of free work then they do.
This other one say, Madam Minister, tell us about the funding what's the amount?
And Steph, they say from with Facebook page, they ask say how the minister and the ministry intend for address the rapid increasement way they happen by university fees.
And this other one say from Charles Van Den Noy say we might be looking at it. Okay.
This last one for me, they asked the Public Service Commission, say, hope so on a reform and reposition this for take on a mandate back on a go bring transparency for make them people that work fine.
This other one from Kamala Charles, they say thank you very much for educating the public about things that happen at the ministry.
And another one, they say, are civil servant important to deserve scholarship?
This other one say you have removed the SLG and the universities are skyrocketing fees. The pressure is increasing for the poor parent. That's my last message. We'll start off with you, Madam Minister.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the listeners. Then we sending questions here. So the first question they ask about the Disability Act. Say the Disability Act of 2011. Absolutely right. And as a ministry, we'll get a policy also on inclusivity for post-secondary education. So we can go reassure the person send that question and for say the ministry will work with the universities for ensure effective implementation of that policy. The second question are the criteria for the student loan scheme. I'm not able to tell them off the top of my head, but there's a website we get the information. The loan scheme gets secretariat currently then in the Brookfields campus of Milton Magai Technical University. They go able to go and able to get the information accurately. The other person asked question about if universities then they provide distance learning. Yes, some universities then they produce distance learning, but when it comes to examinations, then they come in person. And I'm glad that person they bring up this question about distance learning because that again is something we will work on for see how we can really get all the universities then for take that day on board because we get this challenge where the free quality it's the free quality school education the return of that of that investment and so they get a lot of students where they take the WAS exams and a lot of them they meet the minimum entry requirement for university, but the physical infrastructure of the current universities is not able to absorb all of them. So waiting will get for do now for explore distance learning and also vocational training as well. So I'm glad that person they bring up that point today. The other person mentioned say how we go work with lecturers them for later no say na service then they offer something along those lines. So we work with the leadership of the universities them for see how and when we work with them the intention is that whatever we work with them it cascade down. And we introduce performance contracts which the leaderships of all universities and we are all aware say ministries and all don't sign performance contracts with the office of the president. So we now based on what we sign we develop performance contracts for universities then. And these are some of the things we will factor into them for see how we can really create that environment for students. And because as I can always say, without students we'll not get universities. We're there to serve them. So therefore ensure say we create that enabling learning environment, that all-rounded experience for them, not just the technical side, the soft skills for letting get the skills that we will need for thrive within their professional lives then. Another person asked me about the funding amount where they within the technical and higher education fund where I mentioned. This is not something where we just get approval from cabinet. So now we put measures in place for see what are the different income streams then we will come into this fund. So at this point in time, I'm not able to forget an amount. But what I will encourage people, and because as I said, we explore various avenues. If anybody gets idea where no say they'll work in another country, let them make we know that the ministry. We will see if we'll be able to adapt them to a context.
How the person for channel?
We get to the ministry. New England view. We get open door policy.
All right.
I get more questions there.
Okay.
And then there was another question for say, what in the ministry they do about the increase in university tuition fees. And also that's an ongoing discussion. But if we look really, if we compare tuition fees in Salone with other countries within the region, the tuition fees for at university in Sierra Leone is one of the lowest in the region. I can take that a step further and say if you compare tuition fees for some programs within we universities and you compare with waiting private secondary schools and they charge for tuition fees, it's more than what the university. So this now, it's an ongoing dialogue. Last year, there was an increment. But the how we do them, as I've said, within the ministry, we believe in consultative dialogue. We bring all the relevant leaders in the student body, and we talk to them. We agree and see say this need for then give it their own concerns. What they work on as a ministry for say the quality needs to be improved upon gradually. We take that on board. So we work on that. But when it comes to tuition fees, Sierra Leone has one of the lowest, and that's an ongoing discussion. But there's something we're planning within the ministry for open that discussion in a very transparent manner. And then the last question, on SLG. Say would they remove SLG?
And make the fees the skyrocket.
So I think it goes back to the point where I make earlier about skyrocketing. I think we just need to create that platform. We'll get frank conversation about tuition fees. We all own the decisions that we'll make from that platform day and implement them and move forward.
All right, plenty. Thank you. Over to you, Femo. You get some messages then.
Yes. Somebody talk about a hope say we will this policy we will address the issues. Definitely, and that's not the expectation. Of course, we talk about the objective of the policy. We clearly talk about that. Somebody else talk about the relationship between the PSC and the MDAs. Yes. The PSC and the MDAs we're supposed to refer to we are government entities. So that now one of the relationship. And again, when it comes for do a job, the institutions they send them the request when they want for recruit through the HRM, that now the Human Resource Management Office. So the Human Resource Management Office now they submit their request and they to the Public Service Commission. So we now they look at their request and then we advertise. When we advertise, for attract solid people, we will help the public service for deliver on a mandate. So during that process, we will also ensure say people take exams. The one that we pass, they will now come for interview. During the interview exercise, we also make sure so we get representatives from the institutions that we make the request for recruits for them.
Any vacancies at the moment?
No, presently we will not get any vacancy. We just don't conclude 3 vacancies will be not advertised. So we now prepare for them, they can take their exams. So after the exam, as I said earlier on, we will now move to the next stage when I interview. And during the interview, the agencies will ask we for recruits for them, go be part of the interview process. That take me to one of the question will come on the transparency. Transparency, now one of we watch word and we ensure say the process is transparent and people will always be part of the process, especially the one that we request. And somebody else, they talk about as civil servants, important to receive scholarship. You know, part of government in job for make we able to deliver now for training, give proper training. I know we will say now if they're entitled to get scholarship, but for get proper training. Even when I join government, they didn't train me. Even when I don't join PSC of late, they also don't give me induction training for ensure say I will deliver on the mandate.
All right. Plenty thank you for joining inside the program. In name na Amadou Famous is saying the communications manager, na the Public Service Commission as media for talk about the draft of public service policy. We the carry on presently and same way inside the program we get the Minister of Technical and Higher Education, Ajara Matulai Wuri. When they talk about the sustainable finance for technical and higher education with other things, then we update the public in terms of development. Plenty thank you guys who are joining inside the program this morning. When I have good word, the cutting of the program. Good morning, Salome. Welcome to you live from Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. Plenty thank you to Michael Sambula. We produce the program with support from Inokabe and Mange Mansari. Plenty thank you to John Kamara, DJ Sugarcane, and to Elizabeth. We make on us live now Facebook together with Fatmata Samura. So till we meet another time, my name is Usman Kamara. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
And my name is Jaffa Mans Davis. Goodbye.
stay tuned to Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. Well, that now be the Good Morning program. We come to you from Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. 8 minutes past the hour 9. Members say 9:15. We go take a set of commercial, but stay tuned.
We just the way government they come and go and left we pan the day, big the day. Another generation don't come me sweep on the way. Welcome to the way.